Hey guys, this is Nick and welcome to this Patreon vlog. In this one, I'd like to talk a little bit about how I came into contact with Linux and why I decided to use it. I first came into contact with Linux in 2006. I was finishing my first year of med school, which I then dropped out of, and I needed a laptop for my studies, so I decided to buy a refurbished old Medion computer, which was pretty bad. It had a single core 1.2 gigahertz processor, something like 256 megabytes of RAM, and a 30 gigabytes hard drive or something like that. It had no graphics card, only the Intel stuff that they put at the time in these kind of computers, and it was really badly used and badly damaged. It came with Windows XP, of course, and at the time what I really wanted was a white MacBook, but it was way out of my price range and my parents were just not having it, so I just had to settle on what I could find. Now, since I really wanted a Mac at the time, I decided that I was going to try to imitate Mac OS X as much as possible on Windows XP. So I dove down into some websites, found some customization packs, fake menu bars, fake docks, fake icons, etc., and I customized my desktop to look heavily like a Mac OS X. The thing is, Windows XP was never designed to work or look like Mac OS X, as many of you might know, and so the result was just drastically bad. So I decided that I needed something else to spice up a little bit the interface. And I kept looking down this same website and I found an amazing customization pack which had orange tints and glossy buttons, glossy highlights, beautiful folder icons, and a nice dual panel layout. And I was like, yeah, I want to use that. It looks very nice. And it was called the Ubuntu Theme Pack or something. So I installed that on my Windows XP and I did all the customizations for it to look like a dual pane, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much, in fact, that I decided to take a look at what Ubuntu really was. And what I found out was that Ubuntu was actually a version of Linux, which I had heard about, but for me it was like something for geeks, and it was command line. I had all the same preconceived notions as most people have today about Linux. So I decided to take the plunge, and so I ordered the CD from ShipIt, the service that Canonical had at the time, and so I had to wait a few days, I think maybe a few weeks, before I got the CD, but when I finally got it, I jumped on the occasion to install it, and it was done pretty quickly, pretty smoothly. I completely formatted my disk, got rid of the Windows XP, and obviously things didn't go that well. It was Ubuntu 6.06 Dapper Drake, and at the time the main problem with Linux was Wi-Fi drivers. And at the time I had a humongous Wi-Fi adapter, something that was like maybe 10 to 15 centimeters long, that was jutting out of one of my USB ports, and I was using a very poor Wi-Fi connection three floors down from my room. It was emitted from a PCMCIA card plugged into my router, and it was really bad. And I didn't have a clue on how to install Wi-Fi drivers on Linux. So I just went to the family computer downstairs, which was probably running something like XP or Windows 98, and I looked up how to install drivers on Ubuntu. And I found something called ndiswrapper, which was this program that took some .inf files from Windows and kind of made them work with Linux, so the Wi-Fi adapter could work. And thankfully my Wi-Fi adapter was something based on, I think, Realtek or something, and it worked with Linux through ndiswrapper. So I just downloaded the Windows driver, I downloaded the ndiswrapper package, thinking that it was like a .exe that you could just install by double-clicking it, and I went back up with my USB key onto my computer, which obviously told me that I was lacking a ton of dependencies that just weren't available since my computer wasn't on the internet. So after I read up online about dependencies and repositories, I decided that I could just take my laptop downstairs, plug into Ethernet, and try to update and download through that. And fantastically, it worked. So those were my first steps into the Linux world, and that amount of tinkering might have scared a lot of people off, but me, it just turned me on. I was like, yeah man, I'm a wizard, dude. I can do anything on a computer now, which was absolutely not true, but I felt like that. And so I kept on with Linux, and actually I kept on with Linux until I think Ubuntu maybe 12.04 or 12.10. So after I moved to Paris, I had bought a new computer, a new laptop actually, to replace the old one, which has completely died. And that new machine was a bit beefier and could play games. And since I didn't really have time to tinker with my machine and my OS anymore, I just felt that I could keep Windows. And at the time I think it was Windows 7, it ran fine. It was okay for my needs. So I stuck with it, and I stuck with it for a long time until I think 2015. From 2011 to 2015, something like that. Back in 2015, I had bought a desktop PC because I wanted to game again. And I was like, hey, you know what? Before you start setting up your Windows machine, give Linux a try again. And so I installed another Ubuntu version. I think it was maybe 15.04 or 15.10. And I tried gaming on it, but no, the scene just wasn't ready at the time. You had Steam, I think, but you didn't have Lutris, the XVK, Proton, all that stuff. And just the games weren't there. It just wasn't working right. I could play Minecraft, which was the game I was playing the most, but everything else was a no-go. So I decided that I would keep Windows again, and I stuck with Windows until 2018. In 2018, I changed jobs, I changed cities, I got a divorce, and I had sold most of my stuff to pack as lightly as possible, because from Paris to Brest is like 700 kilometers or something, or 600 kilometers, and it's a long drive, and I didn't want to overstuff the mover's truck. I didn't want to pay too much, so I sold all my computers, all my tablets, and when I arrived in Brest, I realized that I had absolutely no hobbies besides playing video games. And I was like, yeah, you should learn to do something. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to edit videos. But I didn't have a real camera. I had my phone, but I didn't have a camera, and I didn't really know what to shoot. So I was like, yeah, maybe I could do screencasts. And screencasts on what? Screencasts on Windows or gaming screencasts? That didn't interest me that much. And that's when I thought about Linux again. And I was like, okay, let's do screencasts on Linux. So I bought a new laptop, a beefier laptop with a 1050 Ti, a quad-core i5 CPU, and 8 gigs of RAM. And I installed Elementary OS at the time, and it ran buttery smooth. It was perfect, and that's when I started the channel. And I've been with Linux ever since. I changed computers since then. I bought a desktop PC now, so I can edit videos a bit faster, with a bit more RAM, and a better graphics card for gaming. And I switched from Elementary OS to Manjaro, which is my main distro right now, and I can game on it. I can play all the games I want. I can play multiplayer. I can edit my videos. I can write my books. I can work. I can watch stuff. I can use Plex. I can use Discord. There is really no limitations for my use case and for my hardware, and Linux is just the perfect OS right now for me. And so that's about it for my journey with Linux. I kind of all started because I just wanted to customize my system, and I liked the look of Ubuntu, and I just wanted to build off of that. And that's what dragged me in, and that's what made me learn the things I think I know today. So that's it for this Patreon vlog. I hope you enjoyed. And I wanted to thank all of you for supporting the channel through Patreon, because the support I received for the channel is absolutely incredible. In a bit more than a year, I'm at about 23,000 subscribers, or we're getting there. And you guys have been incredible. The comments, the support, very nice things to say, always positive. The community around my videos is just fantastic. And I really want to thank you guys for being the pillars of that community, and the guys that allow me to, well, get the drive to keep working on that, because I can tell you sometimes making YouTube videos gets a bit tiring and you just want to slack off on your couch. So that's about it for this vlog. Stay tuned for the next ones. I think I'll try to release one monthly. I like doing them, so I'll probably do them more often than that. And depending on your subscriber tier, you'll also get, of course, the Kdenlive rushes and the sources for the videos that I use. So stay tuned for that, and in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video, and goodbye.